March 2023, for instance, Kiambu County recorded a seizure of 614 kilograms of bang, and as well as a record 42,275 rolls of drunk substances. Within the same period, there is no other county apart from Kiambu which was able to net about 50 kilograms of bang or 55,000 rolls. Let's proceed. We are still on drunk substance. Now we go to Eastern region in terms to analyze the drug and substance abuse. The counties under review are Meru, Tharaka Nithi, and Embu. During the period under review, that is April 2022 to March 2023, a total of 389 persons were arrested for either possession, cultivation, or trafficking bang, leading to seizure of that 6 sachets, 299 kilograms of bang, 8. Okay. Okay, we can skip Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Central. We go to, proceed please, we go to illicit brew. We go to illicit brew, please, illicit brew. Now, we look at the issue of illicit brew in the regions of, in the central region for the 5 counties. A total of 22,816 liters of illicit brew were netted for the period of April 2020 to March 2021. And during the same period, a total of 47,660 liters were destroyed in the region. During the same period, Murang'a County recorded the highest number of illicit brew netted with 9,852 liters, while Kiambu County had the highest amount of illicit brew destroyed with 44,860 liters. This figure decreased to 11,573 liters netted, and the amount of illicit brew destroyed increased to 8,036 liters, or 68% increase during the period of April 2021 to March 2022. The period between April 2020 to March 2023, amount of brew netted was 25,715 and 64,782 were destroyed. The total number of persons arrested was 680, arrested between the period of April 2020 to March 2021. So these ones have been doing a good job. Kiambu had the highest number of persons arrested. Proceed, please. That is the illustrative data. Yes. Let's go to the next one, please. These also charts. They will be available to you in future. You can proceed. Skip Eastern. Let's go to the, roll this one. Now, let's go to the, we have been told the impact of this on our health budget in the country and in our counties. We are also losing labor, very active labor, because of this lack of skilled labor. Let's go to the next one. These are some of the challenges that the service is facing, but the government is doing a good job. Let's go to the next one. Now, to summarize this, my colleagues, let's not get tired. Let's try to save our generation for the future of this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that presentation. I think these presentations are there to jog your minds and also give you just a glimpse of what has been happening over the years up to the moment, so that we are able now, when we are making our contributions in the plenary, we are able to address these issues with the seriousness that it deserves. Deputy President, allow me now to go to the next session, where I'll call upon our leaders to come and give us their reflections on some of the issues that have been presented here, and also their own personal input in as far as this challenging problem is concerned. And on that note, allow me to take this opportunity to request the CS Interior, Professor Kithure Kindiki, to come and address us. Karibu Bwana CS.
Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President, all protocols observed. First, I want to thank you, Your Excellency, and the President for profiling what is clearly a major threat to our nation's future. I believe that your personal engagement and the support of His Excellency the President will go a long way in helping us crack this problem. Your Excellency, for us at the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, we have identified what we consider the greatest threats to our country's future. And this is one of them. Among the three national security threats is number one, terrorism. And although we have not had terrorist attacks for a while, all our energies and focus in this sector are geared towards remaining alert and focused to detect, thwart, and deal with any attempt to hurt our country by terrorists. And I want to commend our officers who are helping us in this fight for sustaining for some time now a very, 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 very successful effort. The second threat is the threat of cattle rustling, which is affecting approximately 9 counties, out of which we have put in place measures, specific security measures in 5 of them. The problem of bandits. The third problem, or the third threat, is what we are talking about here today, which is the trade, use, abuse of illicit alcohol as well as psychotropic substances and drugs. This is a problem that is likely to impair Kenya's future in a big way unless it is addressed. Your Excellency, I want to assure you and the country that at the Ministry of Interior, having profiled the problem of alcohol and drug abuse as part of the top 3 national security threats, we will support the national effort to tackle this problem with the same vigor, commitment, focus, and finality that we are continue to apply in the other 2 threats which I've identified, which is the fight against terror and the fight against bandits attacks. I know I have had discussions with elected leaders from this region, and they have said they would want all of us in the ministry The same way we have waged a sustained war on bandits to also come and camp here and other parts of the country that are affected and wage a similar, if not more vicious war against the terror of drug and substance abuse. I know, Your Excellency, in your opening remarks, you did highlight and point out the complexity of this matter. And you carefully advised all of us to be candid because the matter is complex. We cannot come here and pretend. And I think for us to resolve this matter and address it with finality, we must be open to each other and tell each other the truth as a country, because this is about our country. It's not about another country. It's about us. It's about our families, our children, and our future. The police have work to do. KRA has work to do. KEBS has work to do. Our political leaders have work to do. Everybody has a job to do. I want to assure you, Your Excellency, for us, we are aligned to the vision of the President and yourself to make sure we get Kenya out of this menace. We'll not spare any effort, and based on the recommendations of this forum and the other forums that will be taking place in other parts of the country, we give you the highest assurances of our commitment to implement the decisions that will be owned by these stakeholders gathered here today and that will be gathered elsewhere. Finally, Your Excellency, because today is not my day to talk, today is my day to listen. I want to say that however complex and difficult and challenging this problem is, however entrenched the problem is, however powerful and complicated the players are, nothing, and I dare repeat, nothing can defeat the collective resolve of a country determined to save its future. I believe we can get rid of this problem. It will be costly, but it can be done. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, everybody. I look forward to taking notes on my homework, which I should carry home this evening as my contribution to this national effort to redeem our future. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Let's give him another round of applause, please. Thank you very much, our CS Interior. The next speaker, I want to request the Chair of the Council of Governors, Her Excellency, Madam Anne Waiguru, to address us. Karibu, Mheshimiwa.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Your Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, my colleague governors who are present, led by our host, Governor of Nyeri, Waziri for Interior, Professor Kindiki, all elected leaders, members of parliament and Senate, led by our majority leader, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, the entire security sector that is represented and led by the IG, the DIG, and the RC. All protocols observed. Good afternoon. Your Excellency, allow me to start by thanking you for this initiative, and thank you most sincerely because as a Council of Governors, we had an opportunity to have a briefing on the issue of alcohol and substance abuse when we had our retreat. Your Excellency, during that retreat, if you recall, the governors were quite surprised because we were given not statistics just for the central region, but for the entire country. A lot of the times when the conversations come about alcohol abuse, especially, people refer to central Kenya. So my colleagues were very shocked at the way that this problem has cut across the nation. I thank Your Excellency, and I thank His Excellency, the President as well, for starting with the central region to come up with policies and initiatives to deal with this problem. Your Excellency, allow me to take a different approach. I will not give general remarks. I think I will make a comment from my experience as governor so that we can now probably start having a conversation on what is it that we can do now that we have seen what the problem is. Your Excellency, let us start with the admission. We have a problem. We have a very serious problem. We have a problem that we have always acknowledged that is there. We gather together. We look at the statistics. We say how serious this problem is, and then we go home and the problem continues. I think, Your Excellency, today we will do Central Kenya in this country some justice if we walk out of this forum with tangible steps and solutions of what we can do. There are certain questions that were arising as we were looking at the statistics. For example, is it commendable? Does it look like we're working when we net more people with illegal or illicit brews? Shouldn't the problem be that there is actually no one to arrest because no one is making illicit brew? I think we need to start asking ourselves how we're measuring our performance. What is it that indicates that we have performed? The number of, I know there was one issue, my colleague was whispering to me when they showed the statistics about single parents. And he said in Kirinyaga, our statistics were not looking very favorable. And he was trying to tell me the nature of the women in Kirinyaga. And especially that we do not wait to be proposed to. And we threaten that you either tell me in Kirinyaga, we say, you know? So the reason, so we're arguing whether the alcohol is actually the reason why there is an increase in single parenting. I think we need to look and delve very seriously, and on a more serious note, more seriously on the solutions. I'll give you my example of Kirinyaga County. You saw that I have very few bars and restaurants. But many of you who have been following this sector, you'll know I've had serious wars with bar owners in Kirinyaga. At the moment, I'm in court, and I think I have several court cases because we started with a crackdown, and I must thank Your Excellency, the security sector in Kirinyaga, the national security sector led by the county commissioner. They work very well with us, and they did the rounds of ensuring that we're making sure the bars are adhering to the law in terms of the opening and closing times, and also ensuring they have licenses, because they had refused to pay licenses in excess of 100 million for the last 2 years. And yet they were operating. Some of them selling second generation alcohol and illegal brews. So we closed quite a number of them. Your Excellency, we did a great job with the enforcement. We partnered with the county commissioner, the police, our enforcement team, our committee on alcohol, and we managed to bring down the numbers. But Your Excellency, recently they went to court. And when they went to court, especially the ones that we had closed, they were given very little bail terms, 1,000, 2,000. The maximum, I think, got 8,000. And so what do? They pay, and then they continue. What did that do to our officers? They got demoralized because these operations are carried out at night. They are taxing for the teams. But when you go around, and then after a week, somebody has a court order that they are allowed to actually continue until the case is finished, it brought a huge complication. So one of the proposals that I would make from where I sit, Your Excellency, is we understand the independence of the judiciary, but the judiciary is part of our society. They are also parents, and they also live in our communities. An engagement, a multi-sectoral engagement, where they see the statistics and understand the challenges of where we are coming from as the leadership, it would go a long way to help us. Your Excellency, we agree on the issue of the partnership between the national and the county and adjusting our committee, especially on licensing. I think the critical issue of licensing, Your Excellency, must be looked at. We are the ones licensing, but we would embrace that joint licensing regime, because when we don't license, for example, in my county, they go and get support from other leaders. And those leaders put pressure on us on the issue of licensing. Then the issue of limiting the number of bars is going to be very tricky. But if a decision must be taken, Your Excellency, I think we should take a bold decision. How many bars, for example, should there be in Kagio, which only has 5,000 people? There should be a limit. Not every other shop should be a bar. Not every other shop should be a bar and restaurant. Not every restaurant should also be a bar and restaurant. And I think this will also help us quite a bit. Your Excellency, there are some places we should not even negotiate. Next to schools, Your Excellency, we should not have any bar or any drinking institution next, any drinking joint next to a learning institution. It should not be allowed. There should be designated places where it is far from our children, so that it's also not tempting as the children are going home, or they do not get to interact with those kind of people. So, Your Excellency, on the issues of legislation, we may suggest, to make it easier, maybe have one national legislation which every county customizes, or we all just have to comply with it, as opposed to every county having a separate legislation on what it is that they're licensing and what it is that they're not licensing. And Your Excellency, I say this because when the bar owners and me got into a conflict, the county government of Kirinyaga and the bar owners, if you remember, they actually told me that I am not being very good, and I'm not a very good governor, because my neighbor, one of my neighbors, is allowing them to do the things that I'm refusing to be done in Kirinyaga. And I said it in the media. I said, then go open your business in the neighbor's county. Don't come to force this county to change the laws because you want to be allowed to go beyond the hours and to also serve, let me say, second generational alcohol. So the issue of legislation that is cuts across the nation, a national legislation would be a great step so that we're not negotiating at this level. And Your Excellency, I'll push it a little further. Not just legislation saying how many bars, where they should be, what category etc., but even limiting the number. So you say, like we say for health centers, for example, we all know that we should have a health center every 7 kilometers, minimum. We can find a way of limiting the number of bars, especially per distance, and per population. So everybody knows that beyond this distance, I do not expect to find drinking joint. Your Excellency, the final thing that I would want to suggest, and I hope that we'll all be able to collaborate, not just in central Kenya, but across the country, is the issue of bringing all the leaders, including all the leaders at the county level, to the table. Your Excellency, I know this meeting is mostly for policy makers and practitioners, but I will tell you the greatest help that I have had in the fight against illicit brews in Kirinyaga has been from my county assembly. And the reason being, even when they tried to call the county assembly, even when they tried to lobby to change our legislation at the county level, because I had already engaged them and they were supporting, they refused. And so Kirinyaga has been able to retain the numbers the way they are. So I will request you, Your Excellency, you may consider calling the MCAs, not just the representative by the Speaker and the Majority Leader, but the members of the County Assembly in this region and everywhere to understand the importance of adopting the legislation as is from the national government. I think that will go a very long way to save on time and to also enable us to have quick wins to ensuring that we are curbing the menace for drug and substance abuse. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Chair, Council of Governors. She has given us a very good contribution. The one who will follow her will be Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, the Leader of Majority in our National Assembly. Karibu Mheshimiwa. Let's give him a loud applause.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, all protocols observed. Your Excellency, let me begin by thanking you for organizing this forum for all of us to come together to look for solutions. And I want to join you and the CS Kindiki in what you have said, that we must not make this forum and others that will follow to be a finger-pointing and blame game forum. Because as a governor, Kirinyaga has said, we must accept that we have a big problem. I think from the statistics that came from NACADA, it's quite clear that this problem is bigger in our region than anywhere else in the country. And it is not that, Your Excellency, the people of the Mount Kenya region are all partakers of drugs and love alcohol more than anything else. Just that by the nature of our people, we are a very enterprising community, and a community that looks for opportunities wherever people think or believe that they'll make money. But I think it is time that we come to the realization that, as many of the speakers that have spoken before me have said, that there has to be a price that we will pay. Our county governments may have to live with the fact that they will lose a few channels of revenue. And so will the national government. I was just engaging with the Acting Commissioner General of KRA, and I was reminding her, in 2015, I sponsored a law, the Alcoholics Amendment Act of 2015, that sought to do two things, three actually. One was to declare alcoholism as a disease, because indeed, alcoholism is a disease. And we are asking our religious leaders to preach to our young people the dangers of alcoholism and try to speak them out of alcoholism. But you cannot speak someone out of a disease. You cannot preach someone out of a disease. You have to treat them. And therefore, I want to agree with the speaker who spoke from Nakada that we must work together with our county governments to ensure that we establish rehabilitation centers as treatment centers in all our counties in this region to treat those of us who are sick from the disease of alcoholism. The second objective of that bill or act of parliament was to make alcoholic drinks that are healthy affordable to many of our people. And we created a provision within our laws, the Excise Duty Act, to give 90% excise duty remission to beers that were produced from sorghum and millet. And the Honorable CS, who was then the senator for Tharaka Nithi, I engaged him because many of his farmers had suffered because they could not market the sorghum and millet that they were growing, especially the sorghum that they grow in Tharaka Nithi and parts of Kitui County and parts of Kericho, not Kirinyaga. But then successively, Your Excellency, our own government, between 2016 and 2021, in every finance bill we have targeted excise duty, the same excise duty on that beer. It's now, I think, at a 50% remission. And looking at data from beer manufacturers and even from KRA, they will tell you, successively, national government revenues from excise duty on alcohol has been going down. The uptake of second and third generation alcoholic drinks has also been going up. Therefore, there is some correlation between higher taxes on parts of the alcoholic drinks that are being sold and the uptake of illicit drinks. And therefore, there are hard decisions that we must make. And that we will not do with just KRA, we will not do by pointing fingers at our administrators and our police, who will in turn, as I was saying in the holding room, Your Excellency, the police will point fingers at the judiciary will point fingers at the county governments, and for those of us who are members of parliament and MCAs, we will point fingers at everybody. But that does not give us a solution. And therefore, I want to pray, Your Excellency, that these forums will come up with tangible and long-term solutions to the problem that bedevils not just our region, but our country. Your Excellency, I just want to conclude by saying from the National Assembly and Parliament, we shall do and endeavor to do whatever it will take. If there are laws that we need to change, it will not take us more than 3 weeks to do public participation and push those bills or amendments that we need to do. Because we must rescue, as you said, Your Excellency, a generation of young people that is going to waste. In another 10 to 15 years, this region will not have any productive young people. We pride ourselves as a region that we are enterprising, we are productive, we are rich, and we are many. But I was being challenged because when some other data was projected here, and I'm sitting next to my Governor Wamatangi, Kiambu was leading with the highest number of bars, highest number of wines and spirit shops, highest number of bars and restaurants. And I was telling my governor, these bars and restaurants is basically a bar with a bowl of smoky sausages, and they are licensed. But then the other presenter came on education, the regional director education. And we noticed with my governor that between 2019 and 2020, there was an upsurge of ECD students or pupils being registered in ECDs. Then the member of parliament for Nyeri Town and Nomba Ukanini Kega said that Ishioshiana Morashiarero Neado Agetishianyu. But I want to confirm, Your Excellency, that those children registered in ECD centers in Kiambu are our children. We are siring those children. It is not outsiders who are siring those children for us. And we want to continue siring these children, Your Excellency. And therefore, I am saying that because Kiambu, we must look at Kiambu in a very special way because we have many challenges. Ruaka in Kiamba constituency, Your Excellency, and you were there when you were campaigning in Ruaka about a year and a half ago. Ruaka today is worse than Mombasa City was years ago in terms of hard drugs. All manner of nationalities from Western Africa now reside in Ruaka, vending drugs and using very innocent young people and mothers carrying babies on their backs, carrying diaper bags and vending drugs, hard drugs. But the interesting thing, Your Excellency, at a forum like this 3 weeks ago in Dogoto, at Dogoto Teachers College, and we were being told there is a lady who is known who moves with drugs from Kawangware to Dogoto with a baby strapped on her back and a diaper carrying bag that carries bags. But residents know the lady. The police, of course, know the lady. The chief, definitely, if the population, the people know, the chief must also know. But she's untouchable. That is a story in every village in our region, Your Excellency. And that's why I'm saying, let us not point fingers at the police, let us not point fingers at our administrators, let us not point fingers at our governors, let us point fingers to ourselves, all of us collectively, and say that we have failed. But it is time to now act. I was saying Kiambu, because of our proximity to Nairobi, we are a special case, and you must look at us as a special case. We are more endangered in this region more than any other county in the region, Your Excellency, and we will plead that whatever you do from our county commissioner, let us put a lot of effort in Kiambu. With those very many remarks, Your Excellency, rest assured that whatever we have to do as members of parliament, both in the National Assembly and in the Senate, we shall do to make sure that we have legislative proposals and interventions that will help to cure our nation from this cancer of alcohol, drugs, and substance abuse. With those many remarks, asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.
Tumuongezee makofi. Asante for that assurance from the National Assembly. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, next speaker, I want to call upon the Inspector General, the National Police Service, to come and give his remarks. Karibu Banaiji. Give him a round of applause.
Naibu Rais wa nchi yetu tukufu, SCS Interior, a chair, a council of governors, magavana ambao wako na sisi leo, leader of majority kwa bunge letu, MPs, MCAs, other government officials with us today, my colleagues in the security sector, wananchi watukufu. Your Excellency, I would like first to thank you most sincerely for bringing us together to discuss this worrying and disturbing matter. Mheshimiwa Naibu Rais, pahali tumefika, enough is enough. Ulevi kusema ukweli umezidi. We are not careful, we are going to lose our generation. We are not careful, tutakuwa na naibu rais ambaye ni mlevi. we are not careful, tutakuwa na Inspector General anakuja hapa ni mlevi. Tutakuwa na CS wakati unakuja ambaye ni mlevi. Enough is enough. Your Excellency, I wish to declare my interest. I know last evening I talked to my CS. Akaniambia tumeitwa kule Nyeri kuongea mambo ya ulevi. Sasa kwa nini tuache watu wa nyumbani kule, na shinda ni kubwa zaidi? Na ndio sababu tumeita County Police Commander wa Embu yuko hapa. County Commander, Police Commander wa Tharaka Nithi yuko hapa, uko shida kubwa. County Police Commander wa Meru yuko hapa, including the Regional Police Commander wa Eastern. Kwa sababu tulisema mambo ya Mount Kenya yanazungumzwa, kwa nini tuachwe nje? Yale mazuri yanatoka huko, hata sisi tuwe pale. Mheshimiwa Makamu Rais, na nilikutajia pale asubuhi, nikienda kule nyumbani kwetu, ulevi, vijana wamelewa kabisa. Ilibidi juzi niweke 10 au walevi nizungumza nao, wamelewa. Waona kijana ni mdogo miaka 20, amenona kabisa, uso umefura, na ni pombe tu. Sasa nikauliza, huu levi si hata hiyo ini yako utachoma? Your Excellency, nilikuwa nakueleza, mmoja aliniambia, wewe Inspector General, mambo ya ini yangu usitaje. Huyo liver akae kando, ninyo pombe ipite. Kwa nini huyo liver anakuja kwa barabara ya pombe? That is how far. That is how bad things are. We can't continue that way. Enough is enough. Na sitasimama hapa kama Inspector General to be on the defensive. Nikiangalia hapa naona uniform imejaa hapa. Na mimi naongea kwa niaba ya wale wote from the security sector. Tuko wengi hapa. Kusema ukweli, hatuta kujaribu kusema sisi ni wasafi. Sisi ni kama pamba. Tukubali. Tusiwe on the defensive. Iko shida. Na si vizuri tushinde hapa kuongea. Wenzangu, tumeleta Deputy President hapa, tumeleta magavana wameketi hapa tangu asubuhi mpaka saa huu, hawa wananchi wote. Then once we leave here, there is no action. It can't happen. Your Excellency, we have the WhatsApp forum now, commanders. I told them part of their performance contract with me, ni pale kila asubuhi wanapost jana zile raid walifanya ya pombe. Wanapost kwa WhatsApp group picha. Naona. But we are not doing enough. We are not doing enough. Officers, wenzangu in uniform, hata kama iko tunasema we independent, hapana, iko interdependence. Na all the elected officials wale wako hapa, I've asked my officers to work with elected officials. They have no option. They must work with you. Kwa sababu County Police Commander hapa can be transferred. But can we transfer Governor Kaiga? So if you don't work with the governor here, although atusemi naye governor akishika walevi, wewe police officer ukishika regional commander, ukishika walevi wamejaa kwa seli, mimi najua governor atakupigia simu achilia. Na hiyo tukubaliane, elected officials. Kwa sababu hii kazi tutaifanya. Na maofisa wengu tumekubaliana. I told the Deputy President this morning, and I'm not threatening anybody. Najua kuna mengine tutazungumza kule baadaye, lakini we are not going to transfer a problem. If you are OCS Kiamariga, pale bangi imezidi, na ulevi umezidi, why do I transfer you to Kirinyaga? Is that the right thing to do? I'm transferring a problem. Aya, kazi lazima tufanye. Your Excellency, tumekuwa accused, tunachukua vitu kule. Na labda ni vizuri Deputy President yako hapa. Maosies ila mailetea IG kitu, labda mnaenda mkurokota kule mkisema mnapelekea nani huko juu. Yule mailetea mimi hapa, County Commander, OCPD, Regional Commander wao kuniletea. Your Excellency anapiga saluti, simama piga saluti, Your Excellency aone. Waniletea kitu. Kwa hivyo wakati wanashika kule na kuachilia, hiyo ni shida yao. Na kila mtu atabeba msalaba wake. I'm not threatening anybody. Because we must, mimi CS wangu waja niuliza kitu. Hako hapa. Hakuna siku ameuliza kitu. His Excellency amenipatia uhuru wa kufanya kazi. And maofisa wenzangu, mimi nitasema mbele ya umati, mko na serikali ambayo inawasikiza. Mlikuwa mmenyang'anywa kwa mambo ya licensing ya bunduki, civilian firearm licensing. His Excellency amewarudishia. Yule sawa na license ni ofisa mwenzenu. Jana tu Coast Guard ilikuwa na commanded na retired military officers. Jana tu His Excellency appoint a police officer asimamie awe Director General wa Coast Guard. Juzi tu bilioni 20 zimetolewa, mnapata vifaa, bunduki nzuri, ndege za kupigana na wakora wa North Rift. What am I saying? There is a lot of goodwill from the government. Mshahara unatengenezwa. Na mimi najua wakati His Excellency anafunga hiki kikao, mimi najua haya tataja tu. Mambo ya haya tataja, very soon mfuko utakuwa mzuri and you'll be running to the bank kwenda kuweka kitu. So serikali inaangalia maslahi ya maofisa. Ours, we have a responsibility to give back by serving wananchi wetu watukufu. Hii Ruaka imekuwa kila pahali, Ruaka, Roysambu. Ni ukweli. We are foreigners wamejaa pale Roysambu, wanauza drugs and they are known. Deputy President atuambia saa huu wakati anakuja hapa alitumua nambari ya gari ya polisi ambayo inarokota pesa. Your Excellency, am I talking too much or? But aliniambia mimi nikiwa kwa ndege, mwananchi wa hapa Nyeri alinitumia namba ya polisi ambaye naenda mahali fulani kuchukua nini? Kurokota kitu. That will not take you anywhere. That is costly money. Therefore, Your Excellency, mine is to assure you that you are committed. This is a fight we must win. Ulevi wezi endelea. I know there is also another conversation about even ulevi ambayo inaruhusiwa. Na hata imekuwa too much. Tunaona kwa barabara ziko all the highways. Na wamezoea kuweka flat huko watu wanakaa juu kule juu. Sasa unapata mwanaume anakaa kwa pale weightlifting from Friday to Sunday, just weightlifting. I mean, we can't continue this way. Therefore, this is a conversation, Your Excellency, which must continue. This drunkenness, lazima tutaja. Otherwise, mine is usual and may God bless you. Lakini Your Excellency, niruhusu ni introduce huyu DIG is a day old. And he has instructions to hit the ground running. Come, Bwana Kanja. Your Excellency, tunakushukuru kwa kutupa huyu generali. He is a long-serving officer. Wealth of experience, and we know him as a person of integrity. Kwanza hiyo vita ya kupigana na pombe, public safety iko kwake. Hii ni siku yake ya pili. So can you a commitment, your commitment, personal commitment?
Your Excellency, our Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, all the governors present, members of Parliament and National Assembly, MCAs, the leadership of the National Police Service headed by the IG, and all the officers present here, good afternoon. To start with, my name is Douglas Kanja Kirosho, formerly the Commandant General Service Unit, and right now the Deputy Inspector General in charge of the Kenya Police Service. First of all is to appreciate our President for finding favor in me and appointing me the Deputy Inspector General. I'm happy about that. In charge of around 75,000 officers who are responsible in the profession of security within our republic to ensure that we have peace and security. We cannot have peace and security when half of the republic is drunk. Our CS was categorical and clear. We have three major challenges. Number one, terrorism. Number two, bandit, cattle rustling. And now number three is alcoholism and the drug abuse. The first two have been dealing with terrorism, cattle rustling, and bandits. That have actually been my field of specialization. Remember, I was the operations commander in Dusit when the Republic was attacked. I went there, I worked for 19 hours together with others, and we were successful. We ensured that we liquidated the terrorists, and we were able to save 1,200 Kenyans and other nationalities who are trapped in the Dusit buildings. I've been deployed in Bonny down there when there were real troubles of terrorism. Right now, Lamu area, coastal region are quiet. Northeastern is quiet. We are operating in North Rift right now, dealing with the bandits. And I want to assure you, Your Excellency, that it's just a matter of time. That area will be quiet, like any other areas within this republic. Now, I'm going to deal now with the issues of drugs, alcoholism. And for your information, I happen to come from this county. I've been born here, brought up here, educated in this county. My people are here, my family, my friends, and everybody else is here. I am pained by what we are seeing here. My small shopping center, half of them are drunks. So it's a big challenge, but we are equal to the task. I want to assure you, Your Excellency, that we are going to walk this journey together with others and everybody of goodwill. At the end of the day, we are going to succeed because we have even succeeded where things were very thick. Even this one, I want to assure you that we are going to succeed. Our fellow officers, I count on you to support us so that we can be able to eradicate this menace. We will be having separate discussions so that we can be able to see how best we can be able to deal with these issues. As our IG has said, internally we have our own problems. We are going to address those problems so that we can be able to also move forward. And with those few remarks, let me say thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, our new Deputy Inspector General, KPS, for giving us a lot of hope and encouragement. I now wish Your Excellency, the Deputy President, to call upon the Acting Director General, Kenya Revenue Authority, Madam Roslyn Simiyu, to give us her remarks. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes. Karibu sana, madam.
Your Excellency Deputy President, CS Interior, our governors, all governors present, all PSS present, our IG, all our leaders in various sectors of government, in the political sphere, and even our religious leaders, good afternoon. Your Excellency, allow me to make a small correction. I think I've just been baptized by the MC. He called me Roslyn, but I am Rispa. So just following on the concerns of the day, and very many sentiments that have been shared here. Your Excellency, you started by actually setting the right tone and saying that we are not here to point fingers and it's not a blame game. But I think, as the IG has actually said, where there is a problem, it is important to start by acknowledging that there is a problem. When we look across our country and we step back, even in our space as Kenya Revenue Authority, what is our role? Beyond just that core mandate that we have called upon to do of collecting, mobilizing revenue, to keep the wheels of this government, of our government running, when you look at this space on the subject at hand that we are discussing today, Your Excellency, we do license excise manufacturers. And as it is now, we do have just about 55 licensed manufacturers, excise manufacturers, of which about 44 are operational. And when you talk about excise manufacturers, we're talking about alcohol manufacturers and cigarette manufacturers, who are just largely two. But what we continue to see, Your Excellency, is that there's an upshoot of, I would call them quote unquote manufacturers in every corner of our country. And I will not belabor the point because that has been pointed out before. Your Excellency, from where we sit, one of the key issues we have seen is the concern around illicit ethanol. Illicit ethanol and sometimes even industrial chemicals are being used to manufacture these alcoholic products. And this is what is damaging our society. Your Excellency, when you look at this illicit ethanol, for starters, and to me I would say perhaps it also goes back to lack of patriotism, and perhaps in some instances, greed to make a quick buck. Why? In looking at the cost of excise in our country, or rather cost of excise in the region, Tanzania, our neighbors, the excise on ethanol is actually zero. So there's actually no excise on ethanol. Ethanol, which is the core ingredient that is used to manufacture alcohol. Across, on the other side, Uganda, it is about 79 shillings per liter, plus or minus. If you look in Kenya, it is about 356 shillings per liter. Your Excellency, that starts by saying that just by the realization that we know that the underlying ingredient is costly, you have people bringing the illicit one across the country or from across the borders and using it, and of course, even adulterating it and creating something that is more lethal. As it is now, we are working with the National Treasury to just find a way and a break-even point on the matter of excise, because as the majority leader rightly said, that an increase in taxes is not necessarily, an increase, in excise does not necessarily end up with increase in revenues. So we have so many people sprouting, whereas we even have manufacturers of alcohol who are licensed, and rightly so. The same licensed alcohols are running parallel operations. Your Excellency, ethanol is a problem. Two, and has been said by a previous speaker, low fines and penalties. Both even within our acts, and that is something we are reviewing, and beyond. Thirdly, again, and we acknowledge this, that sometimes we have worked very well with other, other arms of government, DCI, NIS, and when we agree on a crackdown, unfortunately, information goes beyond us, before us. By the time you get there, you find a different conversation. In some instances where we have actually confiscated this product, we actually put them in some of our designated warehouses. But when you go to pick them as evidence to produce before court, in some instances, Your Excellency, you find them missing. So whereas the partnership is there, and I think the IG, I appreciate what you've said, that partnership needs to go a notch higher. Your Excellency, in some instances, it gets worse where we have diligent officers who are doing their job, but because of these unscrupulous people, they are threatened. Their lives are threatened, their families are threatened. So again, it goes back to our patriotism. Your Excellency, I also admit that there could be an issue, there's an issue of information awareness. We have a product on the stamps, on these illicit products, we call it track and trace. So we have the stamps, both paper and digital. Unfortunately, again, we acknowledge and we are aware that there are also parallel concerns running parallel stamps. So what we have done is have an app that we call Soma Label. If you download this app called Soma Label, you're able to put it on the stamp, whether digital or paper, and it can actually tell you whether that product is genuine or not. Question is, how many of us then are keen to do that? How many have the capability to do that? Or is it that our society has deteriorated to the extent that all people want is a quick fix? What is in the content doesn't matter. So, Your Excellency, it goes back to patriotism. We are different leaders with different capabilities and in different offices. Just calling upon us to speak one language. Because for KRA, we are spread across the country. We have a division of 25 staff that cover across the country. If you look at Central and its environs, we have presence in Nyeri, Embu.
Retired Bernard Jiraine. I'm the Managing Director, Kenya Bureau of Standards, the agency that is responsible for governing and maintaining standards in the Republic of Kenya. Our overall objective is generally to enhance the business competitiveness through standards and quality. We are therefore there to ensure that we develop the standards that are appropriate for the products that we consume so that we can ensure we sustain safety. In addition to that, we are also the custodians of the national standards. All the measures that are there in the country are also entrusted on KEBS to ensure that we have traceability to international systems of units. And the regulatory work that we also do is to ensure that we inspect all goods coming from abroad to ensure they also meet the standards that we have all agreed. And also, we go out there to ensure manufacturers also are able to manufacture within the parameters that we have agreed. Our scope is wide, and therefore we work with all stakeholders. When it comes to development of standards, and I'm very delighted that all the leaders that have spoken before here have made their commitment to this call by His Excellency the President, that we need to eradicate alcoholism and illicit alcohol. We have developed over 20 standards jointly in Kenya and at the East African level. As you know, for us to be able to trade with our partner states, we have to harmonize our standards. We have all these standards that are there to guide us, to ensure that whatever we are making, whatever we are importing, is in compliance to these standards. I would like to say from the very onset that we have explored various ways and means to accommodate those that probably need to take alcohol. We have developed a standard for Chang'aa. There is a standard for Chang'aa, and the essence for that was to try to bring on board formalized establishments or farms that can be able to manufacture in an organized, structured way where we have control measures so that we do not have illicit or toxic Chang'aa. In addition to that, we have also developed another standard for cereal beer flour. We have now realized maybe we want to revisit and understand whether some of the measures that we've done have contributed to probably the problem that we have right now. We have, for example, now withdrawn the permit for the cereal beer flour that has been very common in the Mount Kenya region. However, just like CG KRA has said, sometimes when you tighten so much, you also allow unscrupulous traders to circumvent and produce this product outside. So it's a delicate balancing act that we are presented with here. Because most of the data that I wanted to present has been presented by NACADA and KRA, I would like to say that, for example, we have licensed 49 manufacturers. We have given them the permits. We have given the permits, for example, to also produce the portable spirits that we are talking about. And portable spirits, or second generation alcohol, as we call it, is a product that is made out of distilled fermented carbohydrates. But we adjusted the standard. And the standards are made by not Kenya Bureau of Standards. They are made by teams of experts, university professors, all experts. We invite them, they join the technical committees. So the amendment included that other than distillation of fermented carbohydrates, you can also mix neutral spirits in suitable proportion with water to be able to make the potable spirit. What we have seen in that revision is that we may need to review as to whether